Hello, learner. Welcome to Mr. Quickest Teaches. I am Mr. Quickest. In this lesson, I'll be analyzing Alexander Pope's poem from an essay on man. Now, this poem is part of the 15 poems in your GCSE or IGCSE anthology. And this analysis is part of a course in which I've analyzed all the 15 poems in your anthology. The course contains analysis of all the 15 poems individually, predicted GCSE or IGCSE questions, and also sample A star or grade 9 essays. Now, the reason why it has the sample grade 9 essays is because I want you to, when you look at the questions or the predicted questions, you look at how to write your essays, what to include, for example, in your introduction, in the body of your essays, what to write also in the conclusion, how to talk about the form and the structure, how to use conjunctions, among other things. So you see that nicely written in the sample A star or grade 9 essays. Now you can access the course that contains all the analysis and the predicted questions and sample A star or grade 9 essays for only £5 a month. Or you can buy it for a year for £45 a year. That means you get to save £15 or 3 months in subscription. Now, additionally, at Mr. Quickest Teaches, we also provide tuition services as well. So if you need help for the other components of the English literature, like the prose, the drama, the unseen paper, or even the poetry as well, we have group and one-on-one sessions that you can join. Now, the first lesson is a trial lesson. What that means is that you join the lesson. If you like it, you stick and stay. If you don't like it, you look for other options that can help you prepare for your exam. And the first lesson is a free lesson. So what's there? Just try it and then see how it comes across. Now, additionally, at Mr. Quickest Teaches, we also provide other tuition services as well for the rest of the other GCSE or IGCSE subjects, like English language, history, geography, sociology, math, the sciences. We have a league of teachers that we work together with to make sure that we prepare you for all the papers and make sure that you ace the papers. So practice past papers, for example, how to use time, how to build your confidence. I've been teaching now for the past 18 years, since 2008, and I know that improving a student's confidence sometimes makes it possible for them to move 2 or 3 grades up. So your confidence and your attitude as you approach the exam is also useful, a useful tool that can help ace your exams. Now, additionally, if you have other questions or queries, you can send me an email. So you can send the email to mrquickestteachers@gmail.com, or you can also send it to mrq@mrquickestteachers.com. So any of those email addresses, and then I'll reach out to you. Now, if writing the emails is a bit cumbersome, you can also leave comments on the comments field where you find this analysis on any of my social media handles, and I'll reach out to you and see how best we can connect and help you prepare for the exam and ensure that you ace it. What I have very limited time or a lot of time, we can help you prepare to make sure that you ace your exams. Let's begin the analysis. Now let's start by speaking about the poet. Alexander Pope. He was born on the 21st of May, 1688, and he died on the 30th of May, 1744. He was an English poet, translator, and satirist. Essentially, he made the joke of important things to show how inept maybe people were. And he was in the period during the Enlightenment era. He was considered as one of the most prominent English poets of the early 18th century. An exponent of Augustan literature, Pope is best known for his satirical and discursive poetry, including the Rape of the Lock, the Dunciad, an essay on criticism, and for his translations of Homer. Now, this poem, which is on an essay of man, is a philosophical poem. So it deals with the philosophy. In your heroic couplets published between 1737 and 1732 and 1734. Pope meant it as a centerpiece of a proposed system of ethics to be put forth in poetic form. It was a piece that he sought to make into a larger work, but he did not live to complete it. It attempts to vindicate the ways of God to man. And we're going to see that point about, the mention of God and man. Now, this is how the poem appears from an essay on man. It's actually 18 lines in length. I'll speak about the structure and the form and some of the themes, the point of view, and the tone later on in my analysis. But the poem is 18 lines in total. Now, in terms of a summary of the poem, the speaker is essentially talking about the irony, the paradox, and also the oxymoron that is man. And then he argues that the best way to know man is by, yourself, knowing yourself essentially. And he talks about how man sometimes can be very, very bad and sometimes very good. So essentially, that's a summary of the poem. Now, let me begin my analysis by reading the poem from an essay on man by Alexander Pope. Know then thyself. Presume not God to scan. The proper study of mankind is man. Placed on this isthmus of a middle state, a being darkly wise and rudely great, with too much knowledge for the skeptic's side, with too much weakness for the stoic's pride. He hangs between, in doubt to act or rest, in doubt to deem himself a god or beast, in doubt his mind or body to prefer, born but to die, and reasoning but to err. Alike in ignorance is reason such, whether he thinks too little or too much, chaos of thought and passion, or confused, still by himself, abused or disabused, created half to rise and half to fall, great Lord of all things, yet a prey to all, sole judge of truth, in endless error hurled, for the glory, jest, and riddle of the world. Now, the first directive that we're given in the poem is that to know then thyself. Now, this is really, really important because an admonition from the speaker to telling the reader that the full responsibility to understanding oneself is the responsibility of each individual. So every human being has the responsibility to know themselves. Now, thyself there, which is we see in that in the third word of the line, is an archaic variant. It means it's no longer in use of the modern English word yourself, second person pronoun essentially. So he's speaking directly to the reader. Know yourself. And no, we have this saying that man know thyself. I think that's where it comes from. You have to know yourself. You have to know who you are essentially. Then in the second part of the line, it says, presume not God to scan. So that's an admonition that man should not assume that God will be the one that will tell us who man is. So we shouldn't leave the responsibility of knowing man to God or religion. We shouldn't be too, bent on religion or clutched on religion to assume that it is God that will tell us who man is. We should know man for ourselves. Now, the word there scan means to measure something or to contemplate it. So it is not God that will measure man or contemplate man. We as individuals ought to do that ourselves. And the second line of the poem, he says, the proper study of mankind is man. So that's a way of asserting that the best way to understand or do a research on humanity is by a person observing a single human being. So if you really want to understand humankind or mankind entirety, observe a human being. You don't need to, find out about each and every member of man in the 8.2 billion people of the world. Now, I want to mention something as well. The use of the word here, man, is gender neutral. So essentially, he's trying to say here that if you want to know humankind or you want to know about men and women, study a man, study a woman. You don't need to study everybody to come to that conclusion. So the word man here is gender neutral. Then he continues that placed on this isthmus. Now, placed there suggests that there is a greater power than man that puts man there. So placed, if you are placed, it means that something took you and kept you. You can't place yourself somewhere. So it's like placed on this isthmus of a middle state. Now, on this isthmus is a metaphor that likens where man is or where human beings are to an island. So an isthmus is a strip of land connecting two land masses over the sea. Now, I think on this isthmus here is an allusion here to, the border between the spiritual and then the physical. So man is somewhere between being a physical being and being a spiritual being. Of this middle state suggests that man is placed in the center So man is placed in the center, and this is an idea that we're going to see multiple times in the poem. The fact that man is initially placed in the middle, half, created half to rise and then half to fall. So it's in the middle, and man can choose. So he can choose whether he's going to go right or he's going to go left. He decides. So man is placed on the middle state. So man is both half physical and half spiritual, and he's placed there, and he decides what he wants to do with himself. Essentially, that's what we see in the third line. He's placed there by a supernatural being. And the fourth line, we see the use of oxymoron. And we see that when the speaker says a being darkly wise. So that's an oxymoron that suggests that man has the limitless ability to manufacture evil, dark thoughts. But he's wise in doing wickedness. So man is constantly breaking records on the evil thoughts and how wicked and vile it is. And we see that, for example, when we listen to the news. Rudely great is an allusion to man's unrivaled ability to be arrogant and proud. So rudely great. So in terms of the rudeness and man's ability to sound pompous and proud, he's great at that. So again, we see that there's this oxymoronic flow or presentation that the Pope uses here to show the sort of like the opposite nature of man that is constantly at play. Now, in terms of the themes of the poem, we see the theme of the puzzle of humanity. That's one of the themes that we see. We also see the themes of of extremes of human existence. So some people are living almost like they are in heaven. Some people are living as if they're in hell. So the extremes of human existence. We also see humanity and God as one of the themes, which is an idea that we saw in the opening line. God is mentioned, and then his relationship to human beings and how he placed us here. Then we also see the theme of the oxymoron, paradox, and irony of the human race. So we are both an oxymoron, a paradox, and then also an irony as well. Now, in terms of the point of view of the poem, we see that the poem is recounted with a blend of the second person and the third person point of view. So the second person is seen in the first line when the speaker refers to the reader as thyself or yourself. So he shows that he's speaking directly to man or to the reader. Then we also see that he begins to talk about man, and he refers to man as man, he, his, he himself, he refers to man with those third person pronouns. And that shows that he's speaking generally about man, and then sort of speaking to the reader to know how man is presented in creation. Now, in terms of the tone of the poem, we see the tone of admonition. The poem is also quite philosophical and then sad. Admonition is advice. It's also quite philosophical as well when it talks about man's state and all of that. And then it's quite sad towards the end, especially in the negative aspects of man's condition. Man is a skeptic, man is weak, man is a beast, things like that. We see those tones being presented there. That is it. Alexander Pope's poem from an essay on man has been simplified. Like I mentioned in the opening of this analysis is part of a course that contains all the 15 poems in your IGCSE or GCSE anthology, sample A-star quality essays, and also predicted questions as well for each of the poems. And you can access the entirety of the course for only £5 a month in subscription. That's £5 a month in subscription. Or you can buy it for a year for £45. That means you get to save 3 months in subscription, right? Or £15, and you have access to it for the entirety of a year. So that is how you get access to the full analysis. In case you're watching it on my social media handles and maybe it's cut off at certain points, I didn't see some of the lines, that's how you gain access to it. Now, additionally, at Mr. Quickest Teaches, we also provide tuition services as well. That means that if you need help in any of the components of the English literature, like the prose, the drama, the unseen paper, or even the poetry, which this is part of, you can join either our one-on-one sessions or you can join our group sessions or group lessons. The first lesson is a trial lesson. It means you do not have to pay. You just need to join the lesson. If you enjoy it, you can book multiple lessons on multiple subjects of the week, subject to availability. Now, additionally, if you need help in the other subjects, apart from English literature, like English language, history, geography, or the sciences, math, triple science, sociology, you can sign up. Again, the link is in the description, so you can sign up and then join the lesson. At Mr. Quickest Teaches, we have teachers, a range of teachers that can help you in all of these subjects, build your confidence, help you with practicing past papers, how to use your time resourcefully, prepare your mind, build your confidence. Now, I've been teaching since 2008, and I know that improving a student's confidence can move them, about 2 or 3 grades up if they are confident in what they are doing. And that is what we do at Mr. Quickest Teaches. Now, additionally, if you want to reach out to me because you have any questions, queries, you can send an email to me. Send the email to mrq@mrquickestteaches.com. That's mrq@mrquickestteaches.com. Or you can again do an email to me, and the email can be sent to mrquickestteaches@gmail.com. Or if you find that too cumbersome, you can just leave your queries and questions in the comments field anywhere on my social media handles where you find these videos, and I'll reach out to you and see how best to help you in your push towards acing your exams. Thank you so much for joining the lesson today. Until the next time, from me, bye.